Well, how do there, chums? 'Tis I, Captain of the Steves, and today, chums, I just want to talk to you a little bit about an event that's happening inside of No Man's Sky. Now, this event is being hosted predominantly by Professor Cynical. It's sort of his brainchild to enter into PvP into No Man's Sky. Now, I know that Rice's Emporium, another sort of awesome content creator that's into his ships, is also entering into the fray. Now, the basic premise is Cynical is pushing his militia to rename areas of space inside of No Man's Sky. Of course, this only applies to those that are undiscovered already inside of the Euclid system, and they're using the prefix as they rename systems. So they're trying to dominate the actual areas of space, and they're inviting players to come and try and take those systems from them. And if they are to actually win in a duel or a fight or some kind, on a planet or in space, open up comms. If they are beaten, they will rename the system to whatever the victorious member person is or wants. So trying and implement PvP when PvP isn't overly canon to No Man's Sky. When I say it isn't overly canon to No Man's Sky, if you go into your settings, you can toggle PvP on or off. PvP is something that Hello Games has left there as an option. It's on the table. It's just another way to play. But what I think Cynical's idea has done is shown that there is actually an appetite for PvP in a larger swathe of the community. So if a large portion of the community would like to see PvP implemented, whether I'm a fan of it or not, which I am and I'm not. I mean, sometimes I wouldn't mind doing a bit of PvP. It was fun inside of our Light Nose Sky event that we did. Me, Professor Cynical and Ricey. It was actually really good fun, in fact. So, as I say, Professor Cynical has hit this one up. Ricey is doing a bit of pushback, but so is Good Guys Free, and there's other creators and also just No Man's Sky players or hubs getting involved. And they're doing their own renaming of Euclid and defending against Cynical. Now, I've already got my own area inside of the 905, the NMSA 905, and I've got my own little defense ring where I've been creating and carving out my own place inside of the Euclid galaxy, as well as all others, to be fair. So if you want to see more on my own, you can hit up my wiki page. I'll put a link in the video description for the NMSA 905. So I've already started doing something similar, but I didn't tie it to a PvP type event. So I'm kind of behind all of this in a roundabout way. I feel that every single hub inside of the No Man's Sky verse deserves to have a place. I mean, what Cynical's doing is threatening to take over the whole of Euclid. And we can't let him do that. We can't let Cynical's militia rename every unnamed system. So, if you are precious about your systems, get a renaming. Get them uploaded. Let's stop Cynical in his tracks, I guess. But the only thing is people can exploit PvP. People can make god-tier ships, god-tier multi-tools, or people can just toggle off the PvP option halfway through combat and become immortal. And there's very little that indicates that they've gone and done that to the person that's then initiating or trying to beat them in combat. There's ways and means to cheat the system, basically, is what I'm saying. However, with this being such a large sandbox, and for Hello Games to let us play however we wish inside of this sandbox, I think they should give us more tools to control PvP in a more established way. So I was thinking, at the moment, we've got these station overrides being hinted at inside of the station core. What if, once you've got your station override and you override the station, maybe that gives you system-wide controls over that system that the station is in. So if you wanted to set that system as being a PvP only system, anytime another player then chooses to jump to your system that you've overridden the station in, I mean the station overrides aren't easy to come by, it would warn that player, if they've got the conflict scanner installed, it would come up and it would say PvP is going to be toggled on. You're not going to be able to toggle it off. If you agree to this, other players inside of this system can shoot you down. And likewise, you can shoot them down and their PvP is on. Also, Hello Games could restrict how powerful any weaponry can get. They can put a cap on multi-tools, cap on ships, to what they know is possible inside a game. So if you have got a god tier ship, or if you have got a god tier multi-tool, it's only going to do like 900,099 damage or something, you know? Bit Dragon Ball-y there. Oh, it's over 9,000. Yeah. Maybe they could actually limit the strength of any particular weapon, just so it's limited to what's possible in game, okay, at top end. So at least if you are taken out, it's by something that you could achieve yourself with those weapons, those ships. I think if they made PvP fair across the board, and they made it so anybody that is trying to cheat the system is either penalised or reduced or brought to the same plateau as those inside a game that you can achieve on console, then it should be fine. At the moment, those current guardrails are not inside of the game, so it's very hard for me to jump on in and champion this and say everybody get involved. But what I would say is if you like this idea, and if you would like to see PvP more fleshed out, at least jump on over, take a look at Professor Cynical's video, give it a watch, maybe join in, because from what I understand, Professor Cynical is doing this as a bit of a test bed, because he wants to then submit this over to Hello Games and say, what about it? How can we make PvP an actual bona fide thing inside of No Man's Sky? At the end of the day, try and think of any sci-fi film or movie that's out there, TV series, whatever, to do with sci-fi and space venturing and spacefaring that hasn't got an element of other spaceships attacking other spaceships. There's that war faction element happening all the time. Star Wars, it's in the frickin' name. Even Star Trek has different factions, the Romulans versus the Federation versus the Klingon versus the Borg. To be honest, I kind of feel that this will bring a little bit more longevity to the game. Or if not longevity, at least another avenue that draws in new players. Because some people out there like to play games for the PvP element. If it's a toggle that's on or off in certain systems, you could even use your conflict scanner to filter out all of the systems that have got PvP turned on. Or you could turn it on, so every single system that you jump to has got PvP on. So if you're after that, if you're after space combat, and if you do like the idea of skullduggery and trying to take systems off of one another, you know, it could be that that player that owns that system, that owns the toggles that have turned all PvP on, maybe there's a way to get another station override set by that player. You know, maybe you have to take out a certain amount of Sentinel pillars, or maybe you have to take out their own personal freighter. And once you've done that, maybe you get a new station override, and you can then claim that system off of them. You get to rename it, and you get to change the toggles, and you could turn PvP off if you really wanted to be a champion of peace in the galaxy. You know, so I think there's ways and means that Hello Games could do this, and do this quite intelligently using the station override. Since the station override hasn't yet come into game, maybe they could tie it to hub ownership, to factions, setting up your own guild, your own faction, and having those PvP options as an option, you know, and setting all the different toggles. I think this could work really well. I quite like the idea that it's being floated out there. If anything, it's getting people talking, it's getting people jumping into No Man's Sky thinking, well, I wouldn't mind partaking in a bit of PvP. They might have just reinstalled it just to join Cynical in taking over the galaxy. And let's not forget just how big No Man's Sky is. Now, the Cynical militia, although it's growing rather rapidly, they've done what, 2,000 systems so far, which is freaking mind-blowing in the space of a couple of days. But considering that there's quintillion planets out there, even if he was doing this 24/7, it's probably going to take him like 20, 30 years to take over the whole of Euclid. And then we've got 256 other galaxies. All I would say is if you're quite precious about your own region of space, if you've got your own hub right now, get your own hubs to at least rename all the surrounding systems after your hub. Because they can't use mods to rechange or rename any systems that already exist. So make sure you've uploaded all of your discoveries and all of your systems that you want protected in Euclid, and do that quickly, is what I would say. Otherwise, it's fair game for Cynical and his militia to come in and start renaming your frickin' shizzle. Haha! So yeah, there we go, people. So this is a little bit of a video of, do you like PvP as in No Man's Sky? Do you think it has a place? Sound off in the comments, let us know. At the end of the day, I feel everybody should be able to play No Man's Sky they wish to play it. And I think if there's more options of play, it's only going to help No Man's Sky grow in player numbers. So I would like Hello Games to at least look at this video and look at what Cynical and Ricey are doing, because there's a big portion of the community that are enjoying what's happening right now. That's something you've got to remember. Even if you're not enjoying it, there are those that are. And it's nice to have that option. Have the option there, you know. At the end of the day, it's a sandbox. It's a sandbox. And we get to play out and role play inside of this sandbox as much as we possibly can. And at the end of the day, if people want space combat against one another, they've got the avenue for that now, haven't they? Until next time, goodbye, goodbye, and goodbye again.